when I was, that restraining was actually from a motorcycle accident that we had been in. And I had broken every bone on my right side of my body. I had broken my clavicle, and there was breakage in my spine next to the spinal column. And God used that situation to absolutely bring into my life, blessed are those who hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they will be filled. Matthew 5:6. I was laying in my hospital bed, unable to do anything. Couldn't lift my arm, couldn't use my legs, couldn't do a thing for myself. When suddenly the Lord allowed me to encounter him. I was looking at the bathroom door in my hospital room, and suddenly it was a bright light. And that bright light came forth and just absolutely showered me, covered me, and that bright light got brighter and brighter, and it was the love of God. I was so covered with his love, so covered with his acceptance, that literally I had to tell the Lord to stop, because I wanted to stop breathing. I just wanted to be able to live in that light, in that love, always, all the time. And he did. He pulled back and he receded. But it literally, that encounter changed me and changed what I was about. Truly, he is the light of the world, John 8:12. Now, as I was recovering and I had had this experience, there was several different situations where I just wasn't acting like my normal self. I wasn't acting in the flesh at all. And Keith can testify to those situations where I would know exactly that someone was bothered. It was like God gave me his eyes, and I was to see that this nurse that came into your room, she's hurting. She was acting just fine, had a smile on her face, but she was hurting. And I was able to pray with God's wisdom over her for a situation that was hurting her heart. After I was out of the hospital, Keith and I were trying to sell our house. And so we had to sometimes leave when the realtors were showing our house. And we left and went to the library. But it was so much bother because they didn't know if I was ever going to walk again. I was in a wheelchair. It was so much bother for Keith to get my wheelchair out and get me out that I said, you go, you go. I am going to literally just stay here. And while I was in the car, this lady came up, knocked on my window and said, the Lord just told me to pray for you. See, she was filled with the Lord. And she knew I was supposed to be prayed for. So she prayed over me and literally gave me this scripture, 1 Peter 2, 24. That's what it is, 1 Peter 2:24. For by your wounds, by his wounds, you are healed. And she told me every morning, well, first thing that you drink and first thing that you eat, you need to claim that scripture as truth. By his wounds, you are healed. And I was.